on, guys? Welcome to the United View and welcome to our brand new show, Trafford Talk Wednesdays. Today I've got DJ with me. Big up DJ. Raf.
Raf.
Sorry. Oh my God, look at me already.
Oh my days. Man, like MICAH.
MICAH.
Yeah.
And we got Rich.
Big up everyone. How you doing?
Guys. Big up everyone in the chat. Look, new show, and I would hope to bring you better news, but it's the same old shit, really. I was hoping for a quiet international break, but as we all know, nothing's ever quiet with Manchester United.
No, literally.
No way.
Yeah. So I think maybe for this week we can call it therapy talk.
Therapy talk, literally.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I think it's going to be one of those shows this week. But yeah, let's kick it off. So as many of you have heard, this morning Ineos came out with Ineos takeover delays. The vote at the board meeting, which was meant to happen tomorrow. There's a delay in that, and it could be several weeks, anywhere between 2 and several weeks. So, again, we're in this kind of limbo purgatory situation where we don't really know what's going on as fans. And actually, the first thing that I thought was I was more concerned about what would the players be thinking, because it must be a big distraction. But anyway, let's get into it. DJ, I'll come to you first. What are your thoughts on this delay? How do you feel about it?
To be fair, I'm kind of numb to it, if I'm completely honest. It's just more of the same, really. We've waited nearly a full year from when they announced that the club may be up for sale, or they said they were, looking at options. And we're here now, nearly a full year later, with only maybe one major step closer to it in terms of, there's only one horse in the race. But is there? And you mentioned, obviously, there's this delay, 2 to 7 weeks. I don't want to get anybody's hopes up, but you never know what could be cooking in the background. We don't know if Sheikh Jassim's going to spin the block, as they say, spin the block and come back. I don't think so.
Don't give us hope.
I don't think so. I honestly don't think so. But there's a delay for a reason. If this was their guy that they really wanted, what's the hold up? Do you know what I mean? So I guess we'll wait for more information to come out, but. Yeah, my general thoughts. I'm kind of numb from it. It's been a full year now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey.
And MICAH, so what's your angle? Where are you coming from? What are your thoughts? Do you think there's any possibility that Sheikh Jassim's gone to Daddy and said, "Please, can we
give him more money?"
You know what? I'm similar to DJ in the sense of I'm numb to it as well. I think it's taken so long to the point where I just knew we weren't going to get that happily ever after. Feeling Qatar coming in, I just knew, if it didn't happen, Sheikh Jassim offered so much money. At what point are you gonna just take the offer? If you didn't take the offer at, what was it 5 billion, 6 billion was the actual. If you're not going to take it, then you're not going to take it. You're just going to keep trying to milk it. And to be fair, I don't blame Sheikh Jassim for pulling out. And I don't think, to be fair, I think it's over. I think it's done. And I think there's no chance him coming back. I'm not saying, for example, it's gonna be Sir Jim is going to be the owner or part owner or whatever. But I know our dreams of Qatar is over. And I mean, I hope to be wrong, but I think it's over. And it's just we have to kind of think of the positives and trying to get through it. Ineos, what's his name? Sir Jim hasn't had great reputation at Nice, so it's one of them ones that you just have to hope that it's different at our club. But the evidence there is not looking good. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was very honest of you, actually, because I think that some people are. I mean, I've read. I said in the media and on the fan channels, some people are saying, well, Sheikh Jassim should have paid more money. They're rich enough. Why don't they just pay more if they really wanted the club? But I actually agree with you, MICAH. I just think, people like Sheikh Jassim, they don't get rich off bad business decisions.
That's right.
Overpaying. So anyway, let's go to come to you, Rich. What are your thoughts? Do you think that Sheikh Jassim is going to rock up with another Billy?
I mean, it would be nice. It would be nice, you know. And sometimes, you know, I've said recently that it just feels like us United fans at the moment, it's just, why can't we just have nice things? Like, it's every time, is it every time that we must suffer and strive and struggle, bro? And you know, that's how it feels. And I know we're talking about obviously potentially the deal not being ratified tomorrow, right? Or tomorrow, Thursday. That was the talk beforehand. But really and truly, these things, like if you're looking at it from a business angle, from a legal angle, these things can take time, right? It can take time. It sounds like they're still negotiating. Yeah, they've potentially agreed that it's going to be him. That's the only guy in the picture here, Ratcliffe. This is, but of course they need to, you know, all this Class A, Class B share stuff that Owen was kind of educating us all on in one of the streams previously. Yeah, we have to work out. Okay, which I'm sure they have to work out how much of, you know, control is going to get. We're talking about these sporting decisions. You know, if he's getting sporting decisions, then what's the rest of them doing? Is it commercial decisions that they're doing? You know, is it business side? You know, so all these things they're going to have to factor in, and then obviously then bring it before the board on Thursday. And I think from the reports that I've been reading, it sounds more like they just haven't got there yet with the negotiations. They haven't got there with the final. What are they actually going to say to the board on Thursday, kind of thing? Like, what are you actually voting on? So it's all well and good saying, yeah, we've got this guy that's going to buy the club, but what are the ins and outs and the details of the deal? Sounds like that's what they haven't done yet. Now, I personally don't think there's any much more hope to get Qataris back in. I'd love it. I would love it if they just go swanning.
I would love it if we beat them.
No, obviously you would love it. I mean, and also actually, I realized on the last time when Ocelot did the like our views on the Qatari stuff, we kind of assume sometimes that all United fans want Qataris just because. And I think Michael, you said it the best, in terms of it's not the Qataris we want. We just want to win again, right? And it just sounded like they would be ones to bring the winning feeling back to the club. Not necessarily.
I want the Qataris, bro.
You know what it is. Can I just jump in? A lot of rival fans are saying how we're just butthurt that we don't have the oil money. Right? We've been screaming about City having oil money. For me personally, my view on it is that I don't want the Qataris for their money. I'm not lying. It would be great. It would be great to have that back in. We make money as it is. What I actually want is my club to be smart in how we do things and put the best in class. I said this on my channel that I just want to put the best in class in terms of coaches, managerial, our facilities to be best in class. That's what I want my club to be. And it seems like from, like, for example, the Saudis for Newcastle and Man City, PSG, they put the best in class. They get the best in class every single time, whatever it is. Is Sir Jim, like, I'll be happy if Sir Jim can do this, but from what I've seen at Nice, it doesn't seem like he can do this. And it seems like people from like Qatar and those areas, they always want to be the best for their investments. They put the best in class for themselves to reap the benefits from that. So it actually shows more Sheikh Jassim pulling out, knowing that he's not going to overpay for something he's not going to benefit from. So it shows what his mentality is like. Do you know what I mean? Or their mentality is like. So
I'm gonna put my 2 cents in, and then we're gonna get to some super chats. But I'm gonna bring it back to what we definitely know right now, which is that Sir Jim is in the race. And I guess my thoughts on it are this: I had a chat with Owen actually before we went live, and I was just asking him, you know, I can't configure in my head how this is going to work, in the sense that Manchester United, you know, we all, as fans, I think we collectively complain about how it's run as a business and it's not a football club. But having Sir Jim Ratcliffe own, 25%, and as it stands right now, it looks as if he's going to be in charge of the sporting side of things, while the Glazers deal with, you know, the business side of things, maybe, you know, the broadcasting rights and the sponsorship and all of that stuff, the brands and etc. I don't understand how that can work, because we're sitting here as fans complaining it's run like a business, but we want it run like a football club, like a proper football club, where the business and the sports side is integrated together. Exactly. But having owners, I don't know. I'm just talking. I'm not talking to myself. It's an open-ended question.
I think go on, DJ, go on.
Yeah, no, it's just quickly. I think if it all goes through, it's basically going to look like an improvement, I guess, on the football structure at the club, but more of the same shoddy business, I believe. Maybe we'll get better prices for players. Maybe the talent ID will be a little bit better in terms of scouting and stuff. But I think that's about it. I think just everything else in and around the club, it will remain the same business-wise in terms of, dividends coming out at certain intervals. I think that will continue. So I think all they're really doing is sort of like ticking a few check boxes on the footballing side of things that us fans have been screaming for over a decade now, just to appease a certain part of the fan base. But I think I'll go back to kind of what we was talking about just before. Like, I wanted the Qataris in because, yes, they're the best in class, but also the level of integrity that they have and in terms of the goals that they wanted to facilitate for Manchester United really I was aligned with those goals in that future. And it just feels that even though Ratcliffe comes in and he'll do the sporting stuff, I think it's just only a minor upgrade when we could have had it all with the Qataris, in my opinion.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. That's exactly, yeah. And also, actually, if you're looking at there's this whole conversation around is Ratcliffe going to take over the whole club at some point? That's the pie in the sky that everybody's like, oh yeah, well he's just 25% now, but by 2026 he'll have all of it. That's another thing that they're gonna have to work out. Okay, is it gonna just be a gentleman's handshake, which no one can trust, or is it gonna be ironed out in proper agreement? This is how we're gonna do this. And we're hearing all this kind of propaganda now coming out like that's pushing. Making it look like the Ratcliffe bid isn't all that bad, actually. He's going to do this, he's going to do that. But we just have to wait and see, don't we?
It's revisionism, man. At the end of the day,
75 by the time 2026 will be 75.
Yeah, exactly. He's 71 right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, listen, let's get to some super chats. Let's pop these up. Red Baron, big up Red Baron. Do you think we will field our strongest 11?
You know what's funny? Go on.
Let me just say, Mike, I'll bring you in on this. But I'm assuming, Red Baron, that you're talking about in relation to injury, because of a lot of our players. Well, I say a lot. Some of our players have now been injured during the international break. But yeah, no. Micah, let's go to you first.
No, isn't that funny? That I don't actually feel we've started all of our best players in one game already, and we are almost in November. So, in terms of who's available at the moment, our strongest 11, like Rashford, Højlund, and Anthony, would that be our starting front three? Probably, and then, so I'm guessing the people that are missing is like Luke Shaw, for example, that hasn't started. Varane and Martinez, they've started together with not many games. It's crazy that we're almost in November and we haven't actually fielded our best 11. And I mean, it kind of shows in our results, but yeah, man, it's I don't know, it's terrible.
And now we've got this injury scare with Højlund again. So
I was just going to say, so I'll come on to you in a second.
You didn't know? Oh my days! Sorry to break it to you, bro.
Nah, go on.
Yeah, no. So I mean, I don't know if all of you have had the news, but we've got Sofri and Amrabat looks like he's going to be out injured.
Yeah.
We've had some more updates actually on Malacia as well. That he was playing through pain with a knee injury last season. They were giving him steroid injections, and now he's had the surgery, so that's going to be a while longer. We also have we don't know yet, but sources say so I don't know if any of you were watching any of the international games other than England, but Højlund got a knee in the back during the game last night, and he came out with some quite strong words to the refereeing in that match, basically saying that it should have been a red. Because the players for San Marino were targeting him because they know they're aware about his back injury. So that could be another potential injury that we've got on our list. Rich, how do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, like I said, I'm going to say again, United fans, we just don't deserve nice things right now. Everybody's just getting injured. And honestly, when I saw the Højlund thing first, because I was watching the games over the international break, but then you saw the thing that came out about Amrabat, and it's just like, let's just catch a break. Like, let's just catch a break. Let's just be able to field our strongest 11. Obviously, I mean, there's debate, I guess, whether Amrabat is in that strongest 11 anyway, but Højlund definitely is. And yeah, it's a shame, really. We just hopefully, fingers crossed, he is not injured, and it was just just a little bit of back and forth, because I know the San Marino player clapped back at him as well, said be a man, basically, like this is a men's sport kind of thing. But it's just the madness for us. We just got bare injuries and bare bad luck. We're cursed.
Yeah, man.
What about you, DJ? DJ, what do you think? Do you think we'll field? Let's answer Red Baron's question. Do you think, honestly, that we will field our strongest 11 at any point this season?
I don't think United have a strongest 11, to be honest.
Okay.
I don't think we have. I don't think there's been enough time to even have all the players fit to even find out what a strongest 11 is, what our best sort of formation is. We've got 7 months to the end of the season, 7 months already, right? And you guys know when a player's coming back from injury, depending on how severe it is, it takes them nearly a month just to get ready to be match fit, if that, just to get onto the pitch. So, I think the months are going to skip by pretty quickly, where we may see, some of our best players come in, but then as you can see now, look, Højlund's probably going to have to sit out again just as precaution or whatever. Amrabat's again injured. So what's seemingly happening is that other players are getting fit, coming into the team, other players are dropping out. And, if I am to believe sort of like, information over the last week or so, Ten Hag does need to be doing investigations into the medical department as to why all of our players are breaking down. But if you look at just to kind of like end the topic quickly, just in terms of like last season, a lot of our players were playing a lot of games. Bruno Fernandes played the most games in Europe last season. So there is kind of no wonder why, certain players are breaking down. I can't say for the newer players that have coming in, but the existing team, it's no wonder why they were breaking down, because we played a lot of football last season as well. So, yeah.
All right, let's get some more super chats. We've got a couple more. Big up. Oh my goodness, how do I pronounce this? Gingabish. Ginger. Oh, Ginger. Is that Ginger? Ginger Bish. Big up. Big up UV. I fully respect people who are willing or able to find positives in this situation, but for me, it's done. Glazers have cemented their grip. Oh, that is a blow. That's
It's ominous. It's scary, man.
It's the truth.
It's scary.
It's the truth. You just have to wake up and get away from this Qatari mindset. It's gone, guys. It's gone. So we actually need to find the positive.
Comment, man. I feel like I've just been slapped around the face with a wet fish. Like,
it's time to wake up, Steph.
It's scary. Do you know why it's scary, right? Because I remember when the Glazers did take over. I remember that. I was young. I remember they took over. Didn't really understand the business side of football. And then obviously as the years progress, you just see kind of how run into the ground United is. We're literally just this faded force now. We used to have the best ground in England. And literally we don't anymore. We're literally just run into the ground. And, there just doesn't seem to be any light in the tunnel. And look, obviously if Sir Jim comes in and does a good job, great. We'll get behind him.
100%.
And I'm sorry to keep going on with the Qatar thing. So guys at home, you're going to have to just bear with DJ just a little bit, because I'm still trying to get over that. I thought that was the light in the darkness. I thought if they came in, they would literally wash away all of our previous sins, all of our problems, and we can rebuild anew. But with the Glazers still with their grip, and it was nicely put by Ginger Bish, like the Glazers have that grip still on the club, and we cannot trust their word, or I would advise Sir Jim not to take them as their word, because they could change the script at any moment. So,
and I think some people need to remember. I think sometimes, you said you remember when they came into power, right? Or came to power, took over the club. Yeah. They came in straight away, bang, slapped us with a 600 million pound debt. Yeah, that debt is now like, I don't know, 750 mil, let's say. Yeah, and not just it's not more than that potentially, right? And not just that, but they've also had over the years they've had to pay about 700 mil to service that debt, interest payments like you pay on any debt. So that's 1.4 billion or something. I don't know, maybe my maths are wrong, but either way, it's a lot of money that they've spent just because of this debt, and that debt is all because of them. Now, cool, they say that clubs and companies run and are operating with debt in place, but we don't need to have that. And I'm just emphasizing this point because I think a lot of times people are kind of now like, oh, it's all right having the Glazers. They spent 2 billion in transfer fees. It's all right, we can get by, we can make do. But they have caused this club a lot of problems, and I think we need to remember that. But yeah, Ginger Bish said it, like it feels almost like they are cementing their grip. And I said it on my reaction that I just feel like we're finished. Like how are we going to compete?
I feel like we should have seen this coming, in a sense where they use us as a like a cash cow. You know what I mean? So if there was any way they would be able to still milk us, but not be at fault for any of the football inside, they're gonna take it. And then Sir Jim comes out and says, "Oh, I'll do it for you. Yeah, I'll take. You know what I mean? I'll take all of that rubbish." And that's what they're doing. And it's like, I feel like this is even worse. I'm trying to be positive. I'll be positive after this, but this is even worse than them having 100% because now they can do everything that they've been doing with sponsorships, marketing, whatever they want to do, and try and alleviate all the football stress onto Sir Jim and let them blame Sir Jim for everything and just be in the background, be in the in America and do what they've been doing. So it's upsetting, but we do have to just kind of hope Sir Jim has a plan. He's a Man United fan, which I don't believe really and truly, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see. And I mean,
I saw a tweet though earlier. A Man United fan that bid 4 billion for Chelsea, but could only bid 1.7 bill for United. Come on. What's going on?
All right, let's move the conversation on a bit, guys. I think we've had a lot of discussion and discussion amongst a lot of you in the chat about the fan reaction to what's been going on. But DJ, I'm going to come to you first. What do you think Ten Hag's reaction will be to more delays in this takeover process? What do you think he'll say publicly? But what do you think he'll say? Or what do you think, inside his head? What do you think's going on?
He's probably just thinking they're incompetent pricks, man. That's what he's probably thinking. And I'm sorry, hey, look, if you're young and you watch the show, sorry, but I have to be very passionate when I talk. I just think that he thinks that. I think incompetency from the highest level of the club. And it's just continuing. As I said, like it's been nearly a year and we're still in the same predicament. We're still here. We're still here discussing, who's going to be successful, what's going to be the best option for Manchester United. He probably was looking at, I'm just going to guess, but he was probably looking at the Qatar as a breath of fresh air. They were going to come in, wipe away a lot of the bad decisions of the last decade and start anew. So I think with him, more delays, more injuries. It's stressful. If he had hair, he would have lost it. But he ain't got the hair anymore. So for Ten Hag, I do feel for him. He's not been able to have a settled squad this season. We haven't started off strong. And plus this takeover, which has been looming literally over us for such a long time, he's going to have to field questions about that now. That's extra added stress to his plate. So it's more things for this manager to navigate, more stress.
Okay. Micah, I'm going to come to you. What do you think Erik ten Hag is thinking?
I don't know, because I do feel like he does tell the truth in terms of that he tries to focus on the football and the next match. So I feel that's clearly what he's going to come and say that he's not been involved in any of this takeover business. But it definitely is a blow that he's feeling a big blow, thinking that there could be a completely new Man United next season, not in terms of getting an overhaul of players, but just the atmosphere changing, being able to get the first choices. Do you know what I mean? But I think ultimately his job is to get performances on the pitch. And I feel like a lot of Man United fans are starting to think about, listen, the performances haven't been good enough, regardless of what's going on in the background. They haven't been good enough. So I think he just needs to focus on that and get us results. Ultimately, we're like 10th, 11th, whatever we are. It's not good. It's not good. So we have to now just put our footballing brains on and just go forward. And I think Ten Hag is just thinking, how can I get this team playing in a way that makes the fans happy and try to forget about what's just happened in terms of our ownership. That's his job. His job is to manage the players, get us results, and make us not think about that sort of stuff in the background. So I think that's what he's thinking.
Yeah.
Rich?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree there with Michael and I think Ten Hag would say himself, and he has a lot of times, right, when they've asked him about the takeover and, if he has any say in the takeover. My job is to manage the team, and that's what he says all the time, and it is. And I think sometimes, not to make, I'm 100% Ten Hag in, 100% love the guy, doing a great job. But at the end of the day, we can't make excuses for him. And if he doesn't get results on the pitch, then questions are going to be asked. If I don't think Ratcliffe or whoever is in charge of the football decisions will want to get rid of Ten Hag anytime soon anyway. But you have to look at recent takeovers. You look at Chelsea to Bowley, after not even 100 games, I don't even 100 days even, did Tuchel have under them. Tuchel's a great manager, right? Obviously they had their issues, the friction between them. Then you look at Steve Bruce. Okay, everybody would agree that Steve Bruce shouldn't have been taking Newcastle forward. But once again, he didn't get much change from the Saudis as well. So sometimes when these new regimes come in, you think they might want to make a change, to make a stamp on their things. I'm hoping they won't want to do that Ten Hag. But ultimately, like Micah said, like DJ said, we have to make sure we get results on the pitch. If we don't, then there's going to be issues. Like it's just the way it is.
See, I think, I don't know. I agree. I take on board all of your comments, but I think at this stage or certainly when we went into the Brentford game and it was a must-win game, I just think like Eric Ten Hag's like, do you know what? Yeah, I just like you said, I need to win games. Can you not give me the tools to be able to do that? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, as in, there's all this noise in the background with the takeover talk. I've got injured players willy-nilly, left, right, and centre. I don't think that he needs this. I actually think that it's almost as if I think that he's trying to separate himself from what's going on and concentrate. Like you said, like just concentrate on the pitch. But I don't think that he's able to do that because it literally is, as with everything with Manchester United, it's a media circus. So
That's right.
I think
one more point as well. That I think Red Baron mentioned in the free seats, right? We don't have the capacity to sack this guy anyway. We ain't got the money. We can't sack this guy. You said it, Steph. You said it on one of the last match reviews. We can't sack him anyway, right? We just can't afford to.
Yeah.
I think ultimately the pressure is mounting on Ten Hag, and although I'm Ten Hag in, you know, I mean, I regardless of the results this season, I'm still gonna back him. However, I can't just blindly just back him against people that want him out and we're not getting results. His job is to get us results. He's got the tools. I don't say he's got the tools to win the league, but he's got the tools to beat Crystal Palace. We need to be beating Crystal Palace.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? We need to be beating. If you do not beat Sheffield United, I can't say he's not been backed, and you know what I mean. We've got the players to beat him, so manage the team and win the game.
I think he has the tools.
Even with the injuries we have.
No, he's got broken tools.
That's what I was gonna say. He's got broken tools. He's got broken tools. Yeah, his toolbox is fucked.
But they're better than the tools that Sheffield United have. Let's be honest.
Surely.
Are they? Surely. Are they? No, but are they though? That's a conversation. That's probably a whole nother show. But are they though? Are some of our players really as good as we think?
Our players are not good, not as good as obviously Arsenal, them lot. Top six, we are the worst of the top six. I'm gonna say that now. We are the worst of the top six. We're probably We're probably even worse at the moment in terms of a team. We're worse than Brighton. We're actually worse than them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
in
but
terms of our players,
but player for player.
It doesn't work. Football don't work like that. Football works in terms of the team.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
You're right.
I've played amazing teams with amazing players, but they play for themselves. And we used to get popped 5-0 because people are trying to do rainbow flicks in the middle of the park. It doesn't work like that. You have to work together. Do you know what I mean? So, go on.
Sorry to cut you off. I want to just go back to what DJ said because I think actually, and I'm really interested to see in the comments what people think. But DJ, you said, do we have that caliber of player or the caliber of squad to compete with the very best when half of that toolbox is, half these players are broken?
Yeah,
DJ.
Because the question is, look, we United, and this goes back to the scouting and the business. We always seem to get players with an asterisk next to their name. When we signed Radamel Falcao, it was, oh my God, it's Falcao, but he's come off a crazy knee injury. Yeah, it's always but, right? Oh, we've got Di Maria, but he didn't really want to come to Manchester United. Do you see what I'm saying? And I'm tired of it. We're getting Casemiro. I love Casemiro. And this ain't the hate Casemiro show. It isn't, because I love Casemiro. But
there's a bot there too.
There is. Oh, there is. You wait for it. Drum roll. We get Casemiro, right? But he's on the other side of his career on the decline.
That's it.
Do you see what I'm saying? So it's like the caliber of player we bring in, we might bring in the names, but where they are in their career and how they're performing at that specific time doesn't translate sometimes to the name, innit? Because you can have a big name. We bought Schweinsteiger. He didn't hardly play. He was rubbish. Let's be real. We bought Morgan Schneider in at the time. He was one of the best DMs in the midfield. He was rubbish. So it's either a club thing as a Manchester United thing, or it's the players that we're scouting just aren't good enough to the level that we think they are because of their name. And that's a conversation. That's a real conversation.
I do agree with that. I think sometimes we do overhype our own players. It almost kind of like England does with their players, right? Like sometimes we do think they're better than they are, but really and truly, sometimes you look at it and you think, if this player was in another team, surely he'd be better than he's doing here. Surely, I don't know, but maybe you're right. Like, we just don't have the players we think we have.
And that leads us on nicely to drum roll. I want to talk a bit about Rashford's performance in the England team.
Yesterday.
Right. Okay. Yeah. DJ's face says it all.
I've got something to say, man. But go ahead.
I was watching it last night with a couple of friends, and I wasn't really hopeful. We've lost him.
No, he's still there. I think he just turned the camera off. Oh, he's gone.
He's gone. Yeah, no, I want to talk a bit more about what you said about would this kind of player, Rashford, for example, would he improve in a different squad or a different team? And I actually think that we saw that last night with Rashford, but we've also seen it with Bruno. I don't know if any of you have had eyes on Bruno during the international break, but he's been playing, phenomenally. And I'm sick and tired. Do you know what I'm sick and tired of? Is when I watch our Man United players when they go on international break. I'm like, why can you do that for your country, but you can't do it for United? Like, am I missing something? Do you know what I mean? It's just it's a bit frustrating.
I agree with you. I do agree with you in that sense because, but I love seeing it. I like them, smashing it out there because there still are guys at the moment, right? But you're right. What's frustrating is that, come on, bring that performance home, guys. Let's do it. Let's do it with the United team. But I think it's part of what we're talking about. There's a circus around the club, right? There's always a circus around the club. It does affect these players. If you guys have watched the Beckham documentary, we just don't have players like that anymore. Like those kind of elite mentality players that will just focus on I don't care what's going on out there. I'm in the family of United right now. I'm just going to perform. And I feel like players clearly are struggling to do that at United. And when they go away with their national teams, they maybe have that less pressure, which is funny to say because England usually brings a lot of pressure, right? But they just seem to be a bit more at ease. Rashford looked good yesterday. He looked good yesterday. Bruno, like you said, has been looking excellent for Portugal for the past three international breaks. So, and to be honest, these are the kind of arguments that I have with other United fans, where I'm like, people are really slandering Bruno, but Bruno's a top player. He's a top player. You
say that, people are slandering Bruno. I mean, I don't want to get into it because I'll get mullered.
I know.
Look. Hang on. What's going on here? Sorry, my house is falling down. So what I was actually going to say is my issue with Bruno during international break is I actually think that he sorry, 1 second. I think that he plays too much. He plays too many games. And yes, he's not injury prone at all. Like miraculously he's not, but it wouldn't do him any harm to be benched for Portugal and let him have a bit of a break if he's going away and playing during internationals. We look back at the time with Fergie, like he would not let some players, he'd be like, you're not going on international break. You're not going. You're having a rest.
Yeah, and if I was Ten Hag, I would have told Højlund, nah, stay in Manchester, bro. I would have, because if he gets injured, who else have we got? Like maybe Martial, but you know what? I think going to sort of like the Rashford thing, because I've been really critical of Rashford, and I'll just be very honest. Rashford is for me, he's a system player, innit? If you're playing counter-attacking football, you'll see the best of him because there's space there. You can use his pace. But the minute you stifle the pace and you don't give him any room, that's when he starts having problems because now he's got to start thinking a little bit more. Yeah. He's got to start using his brain more. He's got to start linking up with players. And for me, he's not the most sort of like teamwork orientated player in my eyes. He's not really like Martial's way more. His teamwork is way more up there. Like he'll want to link 1-2s, keep playing some football. Rashford wants to just push it beyond the right back and go for pace. Yeah, that's him running to space. That's his game, innit? And I think we need variation now.
I think that's the issue with Rashford. I think that's ultimately where my issue comes with him. I watched him yesterday for England, and when he started, it wasn't looking good. Like he wasn't. Let's not like he scored. We're gonna get to that, but his performance in the first half or in the first bits of the game wasn't great. Yeah. It weren't great. Like his link up wasn't great. He was losing the ball, and I think that's ultimately the reason why I don't enjoy watching Rashford unless he's on fire scoring. Do you know what I mean? And I like players that hold on to the ball and do something smart with the ball. When Rashford scored, like I can't lie, I got up and I clapped because it was a great goal. However, when he was dribbling, I was like, I've seen this multiple times from Man United. He would dribble into crazy space. Kane was shouting in free space. Do you know what I mean? For him to pass the ball. Say Rashford did not score that goal and say we're in the World Cup semi-final and he missed or he got shot into a defender, everyone's going to be crucifying him. And ultimately, that's what happens in Man United's shirt. He does it. Højlund's in acres of space. He won't pass. We won't win the game. Do you know what I mean? And that's ultimately my problem with Rashford. But I mean, when it works, it works. You know what I mean? So I'm happy he scored, coming into good vein of form, hopefully for Man United. So we'll see, innit?
No, fair.
Yeah, I think with him, he needs to, for me anyway, and I don't know if it's too late in his sort of like football education to do this, but if you look at, wingers that we've had, in years past, so one of the greatest ones, Ryan Giggs, like he had what Rashford had. He had that burning pace where he can get in behind people. He could take people one-on-one. But you know what also he could do? You know, once he lost that yard of pace, he's got older, he could keep hold of the ball. He was technically sound. He didn't give the ball away. He could pick a pass. Rashford has to develop that other side of his game, more of the assist side of the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's 100% right. That's 100% correct.
Okay, we're gonna get some super chats. Who have we got now? Josie, member for 15 months. Qatar would have brought their own baggage that media would focus on instead of the Glazers. No real way to avoid controversy with either buyer. Fair point. Yeah. Josie again. United are a destination club. Once players get there, they think they've made it. There aren't many places that are bigger, so they are no longer motivated. Arguable, I think. I get where, Joe, I get where you're coming from. I think that maybe Ten Hag's starting to turn that around a bit. But if you look at players like Højlund, right, he's brought in that. I don't think that Højlund's the kind of player right now, his age and the stage in his career, that he would lose that motivation by signing for United. Maybe I'm being too hopeful, but
the guy loves the club. Right? He loves the club.
I feel like the Højlund signing is exactly the type of signings that Man United need to be making in this current time. We've got the big names that can win us games on their own, like for example Rashford and Bruno. But I think from now going forward, we need to get the Højlunds that want to come to the club, prove themselves, and prove for the starting place one, and then prove themselves in terms of world football and saying I'm one of the best players in the world. Do you know what I mean? So these are the type of signings that we need to be making, and Ten Hag is kind of changing the culture, which is why I'm fully behind Ten Hag and what he's doing at Man United. Also, just quickly on Rashford, I think DJ, you said it too. Like Rashford has an ability to beat players, and what could make Rashford world class, which infuriates me because I really do like Rashford. When he beats a man, like for example, he can beat a man and score a great goal, and all players now know he can do that. He come off a 30-goal season last year. If he's smart, what he would do is do the same thing, but then find the pass afterwards. So now the defender's always thinking like, oh, is he going to shoot? Is he going to pass? And that would make him even better player and get him even more goals.
Do you want to know something? Rashford actually has way more skill than this player that I'm about to mention, but he could actually take a lot of their game. Jamie Vardy is a pace guy. Yeah. So he would his timing of his runs are literally just otherworldly. Yeah. He'll time his run perfection, pace to the goal and finish. Yeah. Simple. Doesn't have to think about passing. That's why I always said, people argued with me, Rashford shouldn't go central, but if you make him play centrally, he has less to think about. And he just has one goal of beating the man, playing on the defender's shoulder and running into space through the through ball, innit? Like Fernandes can obviously assist him, but yeah.
The only go on, Steph.
Sorry, I was just going to say, read out David T's super chat. During internationals, they play with their country's best. I think that was going back to the conversation that we had just a few minutes ago about how, you know, when we were all sitting down last night to watch England, we saw Rashford, we were like, make that make sense. Why can't you know what I mean? But yeah, sorry to cut you off, Mikey. You were saying.
No, I said the only issue with, for example, putting Rashford as our 9 is that he's not. There's only one way he can play in behind. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
He's not patient as well.
And once players drop off, you've silenced Rashford. Do you know what I mean, for the whole game? Yeah. Which is why someone like Højlund can both go in behind, hold up the play. Be a target man, he can do it all. Not maybe as well as one of the best in the world, but he can get there. So that's why I wouldn't like to play Rashford there. So if he's going to play on the wing, he needs to adapt in saying that, yes, I can beat a player 1v1, but I can beat a player and find the pass to my 9 at the same time. Once he can do those two, he needs to realize that once he can do those two, he can still get his goals and he can get even more, because the players are going to double think, damn, let me go and mark Højlund because he might cut back. And now you're through on goal. Do you know what I mean? So he needs to be thinking about these things. So
yeah, I think Rashford is just really much of a confidence player, and he, you know, I say that, but then really he's, you know, we'll see now he's got his goal. Will that give him confidence? But he just overthinks things way too much. Like you said, keep it simple. You know, I personally don't think he can really do the 9 job, because there's so much to being a 9. You know, either being patient or, you know, doing what Højlund does, which is holding up the play, back to go, you know, getting the ball, touching, linking. Rashford doesn't really do that, right? Let's just be honest. Even if you look at his goal against England yesterday, I think he only got that goal because, like you said, I think DJ, you said it. Like there was so much space. They were playing counter attacking. There was a lot of space, and even we say Kane was in space. The fact that Rashford didn't have much options other than he was pretty much quite central. He had to shoot almost. So
Rich,
I think it helps him when you dilute it. Sorry, Steph, go on.
Sorry to cut in on that, but this is my point precisely about how our players play better during internationals. If you look at that Rashford goal, the reason why he had all of that space to run into is because Jude Bellingham made Jude. Listen,
do we have a Jude Bellingham in our team though?
What a player!
What a guy!
No, we don't. But we should have players with football intelligence to know to basically create space by running in that direction, this direction, etc., etc. We don't have that kind of player. I mean, I'm Rich. I'm with you. I'm with you as opposed to Mike. And when you said, "Oh, he might be," Daps playing him down the middle. Rashford is a one-dimensional player in my eyes. He's a counter-attacking player. He cannot break down a low block. I mean, I know it's not just him on his own.
Of course, yeah.
It's the whole team really. But I don't think that him down the middle. I think too much would be required of him to learn at this mid-stage in his career. I don't think that he can adapt his game. DJ, what are your thoughts?
Well, I always kind of disagree with that stuff in terms of him playing in the middle, because most of his goals last season came from central positions. Like he was in front of goal. And another thing as well, when he started at Manchester United, he played up front. And was it DeMichaelis? The DeMichaelis against City, where he just knocks the ball past him because he's playing up front. Do you know what I mean? He can play in between the lines. But I think as football progresses, he's not going to be afforded that space and those opportunities. Yeah. So maybe that's where you guys would obviously disagree with him playing centrally. But I think Joe C came up with a good point there in terms of United as a club in terms of attracting players. And I think most of the players who are around about their 30s right now, if they can't get to Real Madrid, Barcelona, City, then United is one of those options where you're like, okay, cool, I'll just go to United because they're going to pay me big wages anyway. But the players below that, so the Hoylands, the 20-year-olds, 25, I'm guessing, those are the ones you can still make an impression of to rebuild Manchester United to attract those players. Because the players that are 30 plus, they would have seen United in the glory days. They would have seen that, they would have known that, and then they've seen the decline. Most of these players that are really young, they would have never seen United in the glory days anyway. So
exactly that. Yeah. And I think Bellingham is one of those players that dodged the bullet by not coming to us.
Huge.
He dodged the bullet because we would have ruined him. We actually would have ruined him. And I feel like with a lot of our fan base, because he won't perform, they would ridicule him, get onto him, and then ruin the player that he could be. Look how he's flourishing at Real Madrid because he's got great. Smart players.
On the Real Madrid point, can I ask a question? Sorry to cut you, but we're talking here about people coming to United, and then compare that to people going to Real Madrid. When you go to Real Madrid, it seems, and I think Bellingham said it in an interview yesterday, it's just a motivation to do better. You're in this great, historical club with amazing players around you. Okay, Real Madrid don't actually have. Okay, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're not good. They're not a good team. But their players now aren't anywhere near what they used to have, right? It's not the same way you're like, oh my gosh, look at that player. Oh my days, look at that player. It's not like that right now.
But it's the structure of the club.
Yeah, but it is. Exactly. But I think it's the players for the generation now, though.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, sorry. I was just basically saying, I agree with you that the players of now can't even lace the players of yesteryear's boots, right? However, I think at this current time, like the time and the generation we're in, that is the best of the best in this generation, even though they're not better than, in my eyes, like the previous, like Zidane and that. Zidane was used to do a madness.
It's a thing because when you used to think of Real Madrid, it was the Galacticos and all the best players went to go and play there. Do you know what I mean? So they had that, and they had the size of the club. We have the size of the club, it's now declining though. Yeah, but that is declining small because the longer it goes on and the longer City starts to win things, even Arsenal getting better. I'm scared of Arsenal getting better than they are because, bro, they're a historical club just like ours. Yeah, and if they get better, bro, it's gonna hurt even more than City. I can really care less about what City's doing. I mean, it hurts. And once if they win again this season, they've got the 3-peat and they've got the treble, fam. Like, it's gonna hurt. Do you know what I mean? So we need to now catch up as soon as we can, and it's gonna.
But we're behind. We're so far behind.
We're so behind.
Unreal. Oh mate, what are we gonna do with this team?
I know this. I mean, I think going back to DJ, when you said, players from this day and age, they couldn't lace others' players' boots. It just, something came into my head, and I think I'm laughing to myself because it's a sign of age. I think I would liken it to this. It's like when I'm in my car and I'm driving and I like listen to a song, like old songs. I'm like, oh god, the music so much better in that day.
Back in my day,
like when I was exactly in my day when I was a teenager, like this music was banging. Now it's just all doom, 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 doom. I feel the same way about players. I'm like,
yeah.
I look back at like not even just the class of '92. I look at players who are still playing now, but who are the wrong side of 30 or on their way out. Like Modric, for example, is my favorite player ever.
Class.
But I'm just like, I don't know. They don't make them like that anymore. They just don't make them like that anymore.
Yeah, I think just the modern football has changed. And back in the day, I think I heard Rio Ferdinand say it, like when you're in academy, you're cleaning boots. You're starting humble beginnings. Do you know what I mean? You're cleaning first teamers' boots. So I think the general culture has changed. Yeah. And let's be real, like there's players that have scored wonder goals, and then in the next breath in the paper, they're the new Messiah. Yeah. But then look at Walcott, for example. He scored a couple goals, had some pace. Everyone thought he's the next coming, right? Never really fulfilled his potential. And I think as United fans, and just with like Real Madrid's a little bit different, but United fans, the ones that remember the class of '92, and for you guys that's young at home, this is a bit of a history lesson. The class of '92, never has there been a group of players that have come through and all at some point hit their potential around the same time and been together for decades. That is very, very rare in any club. So that's what made the class of '92 very, very special. And if you look at the names they had added to more established names who were already at the club, Cantona was already at the club by then. You had Beckham. Nicky Butt didn't hit the highest level, but he still won Premier Leagues. Do you know what I'm saying? So there are still players that reached their potential, and we had a nice mix and blend then. And I just think that formula that United used to have is gone, because Fergie's formula was kind of flawless. You would have up and coming, good elite young players with established. He never ever started the season without an established number 9 that would bang 20 plus goals. Yeah, you always have a concrete number 1. Yeah, and he would always have the anchor in midfield, i.e. the Keanes of this world,
and then you put dips and drabs.
And then drips and drabs in. There you go.
But I think that's what we actually need to do in terms of what we need to do to get back to the top. It's going to be insanely difficult with our owners. However, not necessarily use our academy, because in recent years our academy hasn't actually produced great players. There's been here and there, Rashford being one of them but he hasn't actually been amazing for us. And actually, let me take that back, because people are going to get onto me. He's been great. He has been good. But I think what we need to do now, instead of trying to look at our academy, because that class of '92 is never going to be done again, but look for those players around the Europe, is what I've been saying with Højlund, and get these players that are up and coming. Do you know what I mean? These good players that they're good at their clubs, not the finished article, but get them in and get them to prove themselves. Yeah, we might hit and miss with some of them, maybe even a lot of them. But it's better for business to get them on and sell them off. If they're not good enough, we can still sell them off because they're still young. But get them in and let them try and prove themselves, because we aren't that club no more that we can just go.
That's my point. That's my point. We just don't have the same level of the draw that, and I don't think we ever will, to be honest, that Real Madrid seem to have. I just don't get it. Like it kind of annoys me a little bit, because I'm like, come on, man, why do you want to go to Real Madrid? Like, come to United, like, come, we're good too, but we're not actually. So it's just a shame, really.
Yeah.
I think it goes back to DJ. I think you were saying about how can we, like, if you look back at Fergie days, like the recruitment we never started. We started the season with a number 9 who could bang 20 goals and X, Y, Z. Now, don't get me wrong, Sir Alex, he is a legend. But if you look back, and I'm talking prior to Malcolm Glazer taking over the club, like he still had challenges to face, like in the background with transfers and signings and things like that. But he managed it. So sure, I guess my question is, it can be done. And I disagree with you, Rich. I think it can be done again. I think that we can. Look, I'm not being overly, I'm saying in the future. I'm not saying in the next 3 years under Sir Jim, or it can. What I'm saying is never say never. It can be done again. But I think that has to start on the football side of things. I don't know how far we're going to get if it is going to be David Brailsford.
No.
But that's a whole. I think we could talk for a whole nother hour.
Yeah.
About that. I do want to just talk to you guys. Well, I say talk to you guys. Just ask your thoughts on what this weekend, the upcoming fixture.
Yeah.
Against Sheffield United on Saturday, an away game against bottom of the table. Do you think we can win in an away game?
I think we can. I think we can. And this is just to sort of like bring the positivity back. I think, we can. I think we can. I think, the players that are in form, playing for their countries, they can bring that form back.
Hold on, stop there. We can, but will we, DJ? Will we do it?
I was getting to that. I see the game. So here's the thing. If there's any team, and this is the easiest question ever, and this is a question within a question. If there is any team in the Premier League that is going to go to the bottom of the...
here,
Yeah. You know what I'm going to say?
I know what
that goes to the bottom club and loses. It would be Manchester United.
100%.
Let's keep up. You can't even name another club. It will be Manchester United. It will be a very Manchester United thing to do. However, with that being said, look, right now we need points on the board. Yeah. And Ten Hag is going to have to be ruthless, right? Anthony's back. We're getting some players that come back. I think maybe, I don't know if Kobe Mainoo's going to be ready for Sheffield. I don't know. Maybe not. But there are players coming back. So within this massive injury crisis we have, there are players that are working their way back. And I think he can pick a strong enough team to get the job done. Will they do it? Yes. I'm going to go with yes. I think it's going to be a 1-0. I think we need to take baby steps at the moment. I'll take a 1-0 away. Baby steps, and then move on to the next game.
You know what? Like,
right, Mike. Mike. I'll get you coming in just a sec. I was going to say, what team do you expect to field? Do you expect Ten Hag to field against Sheffield United at the weekend? And then, do you think that has any implication or impact on whether we win, lose, or draw? What are your thoughts?
I think there's a couple players that are certainties. Fernandes, yeah. Højlund, if they're gonna risk it, yeah, definitely. Anthony, Rashford. So that, in terms of the midfield, it could be anything. It could be Cass might come back in. If Mainoo's fit, he might come in for Mount, or I don't know. None of our left backs are fit still, are they? So the back line is going to have to be kind of what it was before we went away. So what, Lindelof, right back, Dalot left, Maguire,
Evans.
And Evans, yeah. And in goal, that's a whole other show. That's a whole other show.
MICAH, come in. Let's come to you for a sec, because you've been making all sorts of facial expressions. So
it's a thing where, do you remember like maybe 3 seasons ago where we were under Oli and we didn't know what Man United was going to turn up in terms of it could be we smash a team or we just lose to the worst team in the league, and that's kind of what it feels again now. I know in terms of the players that we have, we could destroy Sheffield United on the weekend. Do you know what I mean? Bruno could probably bag 2 goals, a brace, Rashford get a hat-trick, Højlund get... You know what I mean? We could win, but then again, we could just play terribly because we're terrible at home, we're terrible away, and that's kind of what it feels like again. Can we beat Sheffield United? 100% we can beat them. Will we? I can't lie, I'm not as confident as I used to be. When we played Spurs early in the season, I was confident. If you go back in the match stream, I was super confident. I was like, guys, it's Spurs, bro. We lost. Like, what can I do? What can I bring to say, we're comfortably going to beat Sheffield United? They're looking. Have they won this season? Are they the team that haven't won a game this season? I think it's them.
I hate them stats, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Same.
They're going to beat Man United. Do you know what I mean?
That's what I'm going to say before I come on to Rich quickly. There is a plus side. Apparently, Reguilon might be back. Hopefully. So
I mean, it would just be nice to have a proper left back in there. I guess if he is back. But boy, like I think I agree with you. Like I hate those stats. DJ, you said I hate those stats. You know, but even before, who was it we faced last that we almost lost to? That we beat last minute. But no, was it Bournemouth last game? I can't remember last game.
It was the last game that if we didn't beat them, they haven't won. Yeah. I forgot who it was.
Exactly. They hadn't won a game for time. Yeah. But trust us to go and almost lose to them. Like, and I did say at the end of that game, right, that
Crystal Palace,
after international break. Say that again.
Was it Crystal? No, go on.
No, we lost Crystal Palace.
We lost Crystal Palace. That's what I'm saying.
But no, Brentford. Yeah, it was Brentford. But like, what I was thinking, is if we go to these guys, and we don't win this game, then that is a serious problem, because we at the end of the Brentford game, we were saying, oh, you know, certain players need to walk, need to go get out of the team. You know, saying Casemiro can't come back into the team yet. We're saying, you know, maybe Rashford needs to get dropped for Garnacho, because Garnacho looked good when he came on, if you remember that Brentford game. But the problem now is we've had the international break, right? So then those players that we think should be, you know, coming out of the team for a little while, now have a little bit of another leeway. So actually, let's give them a try again, because really and truly, if we take ourselves back to that moment in that Brentford game, when we were watching that game, especially when we were 1-0 down with 87 minutes gone, we're saying, nah, bro, Casemiro, you can't touch this pitch next game. Like, Rashford, you can't touch this pitch next game. But now what's going to happen? They're going to start the game.
Hey,
I
Rich,
promise you they're going to start the game.
They're probably going to start the game, but it's all right. Flip-flop settings, bro. Like, get them on the pitch, innit? Because if they've had a good game, you know, internationally, why not? You want to kind of try and bring that form into the main team. So I guess it kind of not resets everything, but it gives them another chance. Do you know what I mean?
Quickly, with Ten
Hag,
there's not, even if the international break didn't come, there was no chance Ten Hag was not going to start Rashford or Casemiro. He was going to start them again. With Ten Hag, he plays the maybe at a push, because you
look good in that 6.
Like I was saying, bro, bring Scott in, because listen, Scott won us that game. You know what I mean? And he's still playing well internationally. I'm not the biggest fan of Scott McTominay, but he's getting the business done. Do you know what I mean? So I was I want a club that puts players on the pitch on merit, and if they're playing well, Scott McTominay's playing well, play him then. Do you know what I mean? Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was just going to say I completely agree with you, Micah. And I think if there was ever a match to reward the players who Eric Ten Hag put on against that Brentford game, the game against Sheffield is it, right? I think that, and again, Micah, I don't want to be that club, like you said, that doesn't reward the players who played well. But this is almost as if like the perfect scenario to play those players. Start Garnacho. Start McTominay. I can't believe I'm saying that.
Please bench Rashford. Please.
It's the international break though that changes things. International break changes things a little bit. It does. If the game was straight after, they would be different.
Yeah.
But also, we need to remember Champions League, bro. We're bottom. We need to start winning games, guys. We got to start winning games. So maybe it's not the worst thing to play Cass, to play Raz, because we need them to perform in the champs. Because if we lose another game, or I even draw, bro, we need to start winning.
Cass is suspended.
And then is it even? Oh yeah, he's suspended. So is it even Europa League, or is it just completely no European football?
Bro,
so
we're out of Europe, bro.
Exactly. So I mean, this is what I'm saying. Ten Hag needs to be focused on the next couple of games and not on the ownership. He needs to think, how am I going to get these players to win and continue winning up until Christmas?
That's right.
So
All right, guys, we've got one more super chat, and then we're going to wrap up. Little Yo-Yo, big up Little Yo-Yo, long-time member. Collecting points like debt collectors, getting the bag. Let's collect 3. Fun, logic, and reason, because this is the season.
Come
also,
on.
Change your fire alarm.
I will change it after this, Little Yo-Yo. It's me. I'll change it after this.
That was very poetic, I think. I think some of that rhymed. I wasn't too sure if you meant to do that. Right, before we go, I'm going to go around once more. I think DJ, with your predictions for Sheffield United on Saturday, you said 1-0 win for us.
1-0 win. I think Bruno scores.
Okay, Rich.
This is based on nothing, absolutely nothing, but hope. 2-0 United.
Okay.
Go like that.
It's similar. Although I wasn't confident, I'm still gonna back the boys. So I'm gonna say 2-0 Bruno and Højlund. Bruno penalty. Hopefully, if you get a bloody penalty.
We ain't had those. Getting no pens.
Well, using little Yo-Yo's logic, bun the logic and bun the reason, I'm going for a 3-0 win. I don't know who. Believe. All right, guys, listen, we're out of here. Peace.
Peace.